When I returned home from a long day of work, the house was filled with an aroma of chicken, collard greens, black eyed peas, and cornbread. It was the first time that my little kitchen was ever used since I moved to Kentucky. My Aunt Katrinka, who was down on her luck at the time, decided to come and stay with me just for a little while and help me get settled in, since this was my first time moving so far away from home and also my first big girl position, working for our denomination in World Mission, assisting mission co-workers and connecting with congregations and mid-councils. I ventured to the kitchen where I watched her put the final touches to the meal. Once she realized I was in her presence, she turned around and asked me in her sweet southern voice, "Girl, why is your table so small?" Looking at her puzzled, I did not know how to respond initially. My table was a standard size that comfortably fit in my small kitchen. It was tucked away in a corner and could seat comfortably 4 people if I made it work. So I just shrugged my shoulders and said, "I don't know." She said, "Where's your thing for the table? What is it called?" "You know, the leaf. You need to extend this table to fit more people." I confidently responded by saying, "My table is the perfect size and has just enough room for me." I did not plan to ever have more than 4 people or guests over at a time for any occasion, let alone a meal, because I don't cook, which required more seating at the table. She stared at me, turned her head to the side, and smiled, and stated, "You never know who is coming to dinner and how much room you will need." Even though my Aunt Katrinka at the moment was experiencing so much pain by recently losing her mother while in the middle of a separation from her husband, she found a way to be thankful and rejoice in the midst of her sorrow by inviting neighbors over for a home-cooked meal. Little did I know, while I was going to work each day, thinking I was contributing to saving the world and being with people by helping out our superstar mission coworkers, she would spend her mornings sitting on the deck, talking to my elderly widower neighbor Dave, listening to his stories about his late wife and the life they created. In the afternoon, she would have a beer with Miss Rita across the street, whose husband was battling lung cancer. Although she prepared for them physical food that nourished their bodies, she also provided them with spiritual food that nourished their souls. Being able to prepare our table and walk alongside others while we are facing our own sorrow can be challenging. However, this skill set can be developed over time with much care and practice. Just like most acquired skills or new sports or new things that we're doing to be new and approved, you get better with time and practice, and the new acquired skill becomes easier. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, Paul provides spiritual food to early believers by telling them to be prepared for Jesus' return. He invites us to extend our metaphoric table by adding the middle leaf in order to spiritually nurture others. He encourages them to care for one another despite the difficult journey that may lay ahead. Practicing now will help us only to prepare and be in better community with one another when Jesus returns. Paul understands that although we are Christians, we are still human, and we're going to have hiccups and make mistakes. And we need constant reminders on how to effectively care and be good neighbors to one another. He prompts us to encourage the disheartened, help the weak, and to be patient with everyone. And I will say that last part again, be patient with everyone. Even during disparity or challenging times, we must still remember to rejoice and give thanks in all circumstances because we know what is coming. In Isaiah 65:17-25, gives us a glimpse of what God is creating for us. We learn that God is creating a new heaven and a new earth for us. And we cannot even dream the endless possibilities of it. We are told to already be glad and rejoice for whatever is coming because God has named it good. We are told that the earthly pain that we are experiencing now will be no more, and that we will be able to live in harmony with one another, like a wolf and a lamb being able to eat together without any tension, and lions would have a hunger for straw like an ox. It's a crazy metaphor to think of, but it's written. However, we must stay ready and be prepared by continually practicing, rejoicing, and praying, and most importantly, caring for one another. I must admit, I'm still learning how to rejoice, pray, and keep the faith during sorrow. However, I was fortunate from an early age to have Presbyterian women assisting, shaping, and molding my spiritual formation long before I would even officially get involved with the organization. I have met Presbyterian women within this presbytery, synod, and around the world who continue to prepare their table by adding the middle leaf and welcoming all by journeying with others despite their own troubles. Presbyterian women, as a mission-moving machine, continues to be a driving force not only within this denomination, but around the world, in a time when our society is telling us that church is not relevant. However, Presbyterian women are not concerned with the cares of this earthly world because they have mastered the skill set of extending the metaphoric table by preparing, practicing, rejoicing, and praying for God's people despite pandemics, natural disasters, and man-made social destructions. Just like Paul's letter, they are carrying out the mandate to prepare this world for God's new heaven and earth. Presbyterian women are teaching youth from an early age the importance of being present in church by giving them small tasks to engage in Sunday service, like collecting offering. Presbyterian women are shaping future leaders of tomorrow by going to after-school programs and tutoring middle schoolers on Animal Farm, in algebra. Presbyterian women provides transformational mission experiences to young people by making a space for a high school girl to sit in a Sunday school teacher class and ask those hard questions that she does not dare to even speak or ask in her own family or church or others that she has been spiritually mentored for, but Presbyterian women have provided that space. To give a young girl the opportunity to develop her leadership skills and strengthen her commitment to the church by allowing her to take a leadership role on the coordinating team of Presbyterian women, which later gave her the courage to carry on the Presbyterian Woman Way, to continue advocating for education rights for students in urban settings by running for local offices. Now, if you couldn't tell, I was only talking about how Presbyterian women have nurtured me over the years. However, I am not the only person who Presbyterian women have nurtured and extended that middle leaf to. These examples that I named are just a small token of what Presbyterian women are doing to make those small interactions and engagements at an early age with young adults. And I wouldn't even have time to share the countless stories and how my sisters are continually to prepare and shape me and walk alongside me as I continue my faith formation. See, the Presbyterian women who extended their metaphoric table by placing their leaf in the middle did not see a young girl who lived in an urban community that they felt convicted to help out of pity or sorrow or maybe even selfish motives that I will one day become a Presbyterian woman so they can add me to their official roles. No, they did so because they are working hard in keeping the mandates in the letter that Paul expressed and outlined to the Thessalonians to rejoice always, pray continually, and give thanks in all circumstances while caring for your fellow neighbor. The extent of Presbyterian women's generosity extends far beyond our presbytery. As you are reading the stories of this year's Think offering recipients, really allow yourself to engage with the stories, meditate on them, and allow yourself to journey and put yourself in the place of the people who are receiving the offering. Imagine the backstories of the people and how these offerings will not only shape their lives in this current moment, but what turning point that they might be able to make because of it, allowing them to have a small glimpse of God's promise of a new heaven and earth. Thank you for allowing me to be your seminary guest speaker, and thank you to the wonderful Presbyterian women of this congregation who invited me here. This is my first time, well, I guess second now, because I was at the other service, being a guest speaker or preacher, baby seminarian as I call myself. So I have enjoyed practicing and preparing this sermon for you all and being in this lovely community with you this morning. As we go out into the world, I invite you to start living out Paul's mandate to the Thessalonians and accompany the work of Presbyterian women. If you have not done so, take the time to hear their stories from local Presbyterian women. You have a few good ladies that I know in this congregation. To learn how Presbyterian women work are shaping communities around the world. Visit the National Presbyterian Women website to gain resources such as Bible studies and other mission engagement materials, and also take the time to really just expound upon the offering in the Birthday and Think offering. Lastly, if you feel encouraged and are a woman, I encourage you to join your local circle to work with Presbyterian women in carrying out Paul's message to the Thessalonians in rejoicing, praying, and giving thanks while caring for others and to build a new heaven and earth.